Next up is Best Superhero Film. Now this category was very hard for me because I enjoyed all three of the action movies that we got this past year. You had The Avengers, which was a very fun popcorn flick. You had The Dark Knight Rises, which was as you know, the ending film to Christopher Nolan's complex dark Batman trilogy. And you also had this film, which kind of got overlooked because this character recently starred in a series of films not too long ago, and many people thought it was too soon for a reboot, but nonetheless, I thought The Amazing Spider-Man, for me, was the best superhero movie of the summer. Director Mark Webb creates a deliberate-paced character film that allows us to follow Peter Parker's journey as Spider-Man. Instead of getting, those one-minute montages where you just see a few little clips of him, working his, web-slinging and getting into trouble, you get to spend time seeing Peter Parker get to know his superpowers and trying to figure out again and again how to, get it all to work. This movie does rely less on action scenes and stunts, but it relies more on compelling character drama rather than the action and the stunts. Personally, I thought Emma Stone was a little bit too old to be playing a high schooler, since recently she's been doing mostly characters that are young adults, but I thought Andrew Garfield created a Peter Parker. I thought he was very good as the sort of outcast nerd that's trying to fill the missing void in his life. You have his parents disappeared, and of course, no spoiler alert since you saw this in the other Spider-Man movie, his Uncle Ben dies. But as Spider-Man, he becomes cocky and very confident, so it was interesting seeing these two little personas. Personally, the action scenes in this movie were probably, for me, the weakest aspect of the movie. Mark Webb is not an action director. I think he's good at, combining visuals with the story, making it a part of it rather than just to show off what can be done with special effects. I thought it wasn't as, the character driving and all that was pretty good, but the action scenes were just not very great. But I think Mark Webb delivered on everything else. He knows how to direct the actors. This movie was not a spectacle film like The Avengers or the Spider-Man trilogy, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Best science fiction film? Now, we can argue about the plot holes and whether this movie was, a prequel to the Alien films, but I thought Prometheus, for me, I really thought I enjoyed this movie of all the sci-fi films. This is Ridley Scott's first science fiction film in 30 years, and Scott, what I liked about this movie is Scott is known for not overdoing it on CGI. Here he builds sets rather than relying on CGI to make them, and of course he uses a lot of locations, and as a result I felt like I was on a journey with these characters. The cast was excellent. I really enjoyed Michael Fassbender as the android David, and watching it on the big screen in the movie theater made me feel like I was there. It was like it was shot on a documentary and I was with these characters exploring caves and spaceships, and the film invited me to think about, question some things, and taking everything that was presented to me and put it together. Yes, why are we here? Is there a God? Who created us? That's been done over and over again, like in 2001 Space Odyssey, for example. But I thought visually it was a good film. There were a few suspense surprises. I thought, I felt like very involved in this movie, and I thought it was a fun movie to watch. Best Actors Movie. Now, for this category, I'd give it to Silver Linings Playbook. Bradley Cooper surprised me with his performance as Pat, who suffers from bipolar disorder. Cooper, I think, delivers an excellent performance, and he and Jennifer Lawrence play off each other very well. At one moment, they're bringing out the best of each other, and in another moment, they really dislike one another. And in my opinion, this film, like several other of her performances, show that Jennifer Lawrence, for me, is one of the best young actresses working in the movies today. She delivers another great performance. Now, I thought the story was compelling. I did not know what was happening. I never read the book, so I walked in there kind of cold, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought the characters, to me, felt very well developed, and I don't remember seeing any one-dimensional ones throughout. The movie, again, like Argo, it blends drama, it blends some suspense, it blends some comedy, all very well. Overall, I thought Silver Linings Playbook was a very well-acted and fascinating movie. Best movie to watch in the theater. For me, it's Life of Pi, a visually stunning spiritual movie about finding yourself, and it also gives the audience a chance to interpret what they're watching as this movie progresses. Ang Lee shoots this movie in a very warm photography, and the special effects are incorporated into the story without, being distracting. And I think the actor who plays Pi delivers a great performance, and it was probably challenging to him because over the course of the film, once he gets off once the ship sinks and he goes onto this lifeboat with this tiger, the character becomes mentally and physically, weak over the course of this movie. And it was kind of refreshing to me to see a lead character who is religious and a vegetarian, and he takes his beliefs very seriously. The movie, it can be a little bit talky in the beginning, but once the middle comes along, which relies a little bit less on dialogue and definitely more on the characters, reactions and their movements and all that, it definitely, I think, went very well. Best horror film. Now, oftentimes I'm not really excited to go see horror films because they're all about blood, guts, screaming characters, and oftentimes they're just remakes or retreads of characters that have been done over and over again since the 60s and 70s. But I thought The Woman in Black was, for me, the scariest movie I had seen in the theaters for quite some time. And why it works is that it doesn't just focus on, trying to scare the audience. There's also some suspense to get the audience, on a sense of unease. And the movie relies on visuals, including props that are unusual or grotesque, and that the film is shot in a very cold gray. And the mystery of the house that Daniel Radcliffe goes into, it kept me wanting to find out more about it. Personally, I thought Daniel Radcliffe was perhaps a little bit too young for his role as a father who has to go leave his family to take care of some business in this isolated town at this old, creaky, scary house, but I thought his reactions to his surroundings throughout were pretty good. There are some jump scares, which a lot of horror films tend to incorporate, but the filmmakers know how to use them effectively without it coming across as a cheap device. I thought it worked pretty well with the story as well. Alright, so that's my list of what I thought were the best movies of 2012. Here they are again. Best Picture, Argo. Best Musical, Les Miserables. Best Documentary in a Wide Release, Bully. Best Animated Film, Wreck-It Ralph. Best Superhero Movie, Spider-Man. Best Sci-Fi Film, I thought was Prometheus. The Best Actors Movie, Silver Linings Playbook. Best Movie to Watch in the Theater, Life of Pi. Best Horror Movie, Woman in Black. So go ahead and post your thoughts about any of these movies or why you think I shouldn't have put these movies on my list and all that. I do appreciate all the comments you sent. Coming up, I will have my list of what I thought were the worst movies of last year. So thank you very much for watching, and stick around for that one.